You can't just sit out in the open and try to push. They have soft armor. Nice. Took out a tier 8 right there. And that's why... Hey guys, welcome back to dungeongurunet. This is nethervoid, also known as John, to do another strategy series for you this week, another doubleheader. And this video is going to be on the Tiger 1. I've had a lot of requests for this tank, and I actually wanted to buy it back. It was on sale a couple weeks ago, so I finally bought it. It did cost me a fortune still, but that's fine. The Tiger 1 was one of the most feared tanks of World War II, so right there, when I first started playing this game, I just wanted the Tiger. I mean, that's why I was playing this game, so I went straight up the German tree to get the Tiger. The funny thing is, even though it was the most feared tank of World War II, and it was pretty much the one that everybody remembers, it's not that great in this game. A lot of that is because it's tiered up with tanks that were a response to this tank, and so their technology is a little better, and their armor is a lot better. But anyway, so basically how you play this tank is, and you probably never heard me say this before, but this is kind of a sniper tank. What I usually do with this tank is I'll kind of support. Now, sniper, there's a lot to be... You really need to know what people mean when they say sniper. Now, in almost every other game, a sniper basically just sits in one spot and shoots at anybody he can shoot at if they come into his field of view. A sniper in WoT's a lot different. A sniper in WoT is a support tank, and that you need to position yourself so that you can keep firing your gun at the enemy. If you're sitting back at base camping and you have nobody to shoot at for half of the game, you're not doing your job correctly as a sniper. You need to move up with a line and sit way back, kind of like a TD would, and snipe at guys, and always try to keep your gun unloading on the enemy. The thing you don't do, all you're really doing is not getting up into the front, because this, your armor is pretty poor in this tank and you can't take a lot of hits. So that's kind of how I play this tank. I'll snipe for a while, and then as the battle, and I'll just keep moving up as we start destroying enemies and we need to move further into the enemy territory. My line will move up, and the heavies in my line will move up, or the top of the line, and I will move with them to keep supporting them. In that sense, this is a great tank. It's got great accuracy on the gun, pretty good reload speed, and it packs a punch, and in that way it's a pretty good tank. And I'll tell you why in a sec when we go over some of the stats. 1,450 hit points is actually a little more than a tier 7. I think it's 100 hit points more than the other tier 7s, which is nice. 56 tons pushed around by 870 engine horsepower. This thing's actually pretty mobile, which I was really surprised at how mobile this thing is, and I didn't notice it until after I already played some other tanks. Mainly that mobility comes from that engine horsepower. It's got a lot of acceleration and it can move around the map quite well, which is good because, remember, as the sniper, you need to be moving to, from one position to the next to try to get the best shots you can on the enemy. So that means you need to be moving around. I forgot to talk about, if you're a top tier tank, you do need to push with this tank. You can't sit in the base and wait for people to come to you. Your team's probably going to lose because you need to be out pushing the line a little bit. You just have to play a little smarter. Juke some guys, wait for them to pop out at the wrong time, be aiming their gun a different direction, and you pop out and shoot them. You just have to play a little bit smarter, but you do need to push the line if you're top tier in this tank. And that engine horsepower will help you with that, popping out, getting to different parts of cover that are better than others. You have to be... This is a tank that will teach you how to play heavies in a smart way. This tank is what taught me how to be so good with heavies and how to pop out at the right times and ruin people with a heavy playstyle, because you cannot make mistakes on this tank or you will die. 24 traverse on the tracks is okay. I mean, it's pretty standard for heavies, nothing to write home about. It's a little slow. I wish it was a little higher, but it's not horrible. Here's where you're really going to be hurting is 100mm armor on the hull and the turret, and 82 on the sides and back. You might think, oh, that's not that bad. Except the problem really is all the armor on this thing is flat, and this is because this is before the Germans figured out that sloped armor was better, and they just put everything they had was flat. So all the other tanks in the game, their armor rating, and while it might be 100. Like it is on the E2, which, let me show you that. The armor is the same, but that's 100mm of armor. So when as it sits here, so when it's sloped, it creates a thicker penetrating surface here, more like 130 or something like that. And so it's really, that sloping armor is really what causes 100 millimeters of armor to be something to care about. Because in the Tiger, it being flat, it really is 100 millimeters of armor. It's really easy to penetrate. The side armor is the same, and the back armor is pretty much the same. There's a very slight angle, almost nothing to be, to help you out. And the turret is the same. Everything on it is flat, and so it's very easy to penetrate this tank. If you're a top tier, lower tiers can have a hard time with it. You probably need to fear most. Probably tier 6 TDs, tier 7 TDs. They have extra penetration usually on their guns and things like that. You just have to play a little smarter because of this. Also, you will learn to angle your tank like this and angle your armor. It'll help a lot. This tank taught me a lot about how to play this game and how to angle my armor and all those things that I tell you guys about every week. Rate of fire good. 26 traverse on the turret is okay. Combined, it's a 50 degrees per second. It's pretty standard for a heavy. It's not bad. It's okay. 420 view range is pretty good, and you're going to need that to be a sniper. So it's really nice to have 420, which is pretty average. It's not great. 810 meters on the biggest radio is really nice, especially since you're a sniper. You need to have the team enemy's positions radioed to you, because you need to know where they are. You need to know where to position yourself if you're doing sniping, and you also need to know where everybody is when you're trying to be cautious and push a line. So having that big radio really helps. Let's go over modules. I've already talked about some a little bit. You start out with a 470 meter radio. You should already have this 810 meter radio unlocked, so throw it on immediately because it doesn't really change for weight. The tracks, it only goes up 2 degrees, and you don't actually need the track to load any of the other modules, so you don't have to get those right away. It does help a little bit with turning speed, but it's not that big of a deal. Engines, you should have the first 2 engines unlocked. These first 2 upgrades from the 3601. So throw that 750 horsepower engine on immediately, and you won't be sluggish right off the bat. It's going to be pretty nice, actually. If you made the mistake of not unlocking those engines like I did the first time around, I used to not unlock everything before I moved on to the next tank when I first started playing this game, and so I had to start out with stock engine, and it was really slow and sluggish, and I had a really hard time playing this tank. So if you've unlocked up to this tier 7 engine, you should be fine though. The tier 9 engine is actually really good. It's another 120 horsepower. This tank becomes a very mobile monster after that. It's really nice to have this fully upgraded engine. The turret changes quite a bit, mainly really only 18 armor, so it's not a lot of change in the armor, and you get 20 more meters of view range, which is really not that much. No change in degrees per second. The real problem with it, you also need the upgraded turret to load the long 88. But let's look at to me the bigger thing is it just looks so horrible. It looks, I mean, it's the 3601 turret. And when I see somebody in this turret, I just feel sorry for them. Like, wow, you have an unupgraded Tiger. The Tiger is kind of hard to play as it is. And adding fuel to the fire, people notice this unupgraded turret and they think, wow, that's easy Tiger. Let's hit him. He's stock. He doesn't have long 88. Let's pound him. And that's because there's such a difference between the short and long 88 as far as penetration. We might as well just go over that now. The short 88 has a 132 pin, while the long 88 has this nice 203 pin. So it's really hard to snipe with that shorter gun. You have to get a lot closer to the action. You probably have to try to flank people and stuff, which is a little harder again with the Tiger because you do have to get up close and personal. So I just feel sorry for those guys with the unupgraded turret and the short 88. You should have all 3 of these guns unlocked from previous tanks. So just right away throw the short 88 on it. You want to get, to me, now some people will take this L70 instead because it has a little bit more DPS and it has more reload speed and a little bit better penetration, not really much to change, to make a difference really. But what I feel is, especially if you're sniping, you might not get a chance to shoot this gun twice at a guy who's driving by. So you want to get as much damage on him as you can, and to me the bigger damage is better. So that's why I went with a short 88 on this thing. You might not get many chances to flank somebody before you explode. You might not be able to get 3 shots, and maybe you can only get 1, so you want that shot to do as much damage as possible. Now obviously, when you upgrade to the long 88, it's a game changer for this tank. This tank actually becomes a lot of fun, and by this time you can be very deadly with this tank if you've learned a lot by using the short 88. This tank can be very deadly played in the right hands. It can help you win a game. Again, try to be a little bit cautious. It's really a balancing act. You don't want to camp too heavily where you're just sitting in base, but you also don't want to be really aggressive like you might in a T29 if you're hold down, or a higher tier tank like an IS-3 or something. You need to just play the cautious game and play really smart in this tank, and you'll have great success in it, and you'll actually start liking it because of this gun. This gun is really ridiculous. You're going to pen people all the time, and you're going to see some games where I take out tier 8s in it, no problem. Also, this long 88 is so awesome. So that's pretty much this tank, or I'm sorry, that's only the modules. Weak points. To be honest, I didn't research weak points because the whole tank is a weak point. With 100mm armor, you can shoot it almost anywhere and you're fine. If you're having a hard problem penetrating it, though, you got the machine gun turret here, driver viewport, and the cupola is pretty easy to hit. It's pretty high up, and that's really it. But you shouldn't really have a hard time penetrating 100mm of flat armor. This is a really soft tank. So that's weak points. So I've done modules. Weak points I should have done before modules. Doesn't really matter. Let's do research. Now for me, the Tiger tech tree is really a simple tech tree as far as what to go after, because you should have the first 2 engine upgrades unlocked from the 3601. You'll have this radio already unlocked and these 2 guns also unlocked. So what you're going to want to do is throw the short 88 on there immediately, and these 2 engine and the second engine upgrade here. And this tank's it's okay. So what you really want to do is a snipe tank, because you want to get to the biggest gun as fast as you can. So I'd research the turret first, then the long 88, and then I go for the tracks, and then I go for the second engine here. And so that pretty much is all you do on this tank. It's pretty simple. After that, go for the Tiger 2. So that's the tech tree, and it'll be up over here on the side. So now let's talk about some equipment. Now I don't have equipment on this because I rebought this tank. But what I would put on this thing right away, obviously, is the vent. That goes on every one of my tanks. Improves everything on the tank. Reload speed, aim time, traverse, top speed, or acceleration. Everything is improved. So I always get the vent if it is a closed turret tank. The rammer is going to help a lot because it's going to help your gun reload and help you get more shots off. It's kind of obvious in this kind of a tank, especially a heavy. And then the third one I would get, I have a camo net on this thing because I had one available, but I would probably get a binoc on this thing. That's going to get your view range way over 500, like more into the 550 range, and that's because there is no cap of 500 view range. Well, it's kind of hard to explain. The view range is not capped at 500 like everybody thinks it is. It's really the spotting range that's capped, and so if you have dudes, your teammates are in front of you spotting people, you can see out past 500 meters. Have you ever noticed you get a hit on somebody that you can see and it's past 500 meters? It's because the view range isn't limited to 500 meters. You can get, with the long 88, you can get over 600 meter shots on people. So binocs is not a bad idea, and I'd probably go with binocs if I had an extra set laying around. So it'd probably be, the camo net helps a little bit, but really because you're so big, and camo rating is basically the volume of your tank, the volume that your tank displaces is what drives your camo rating. So you're not going to get a lot of benefit out of it. Again, I only threw it on because I had an extra one laying around and I don't have equipment for this tank. So, but if you're looking at what you're going to need to drive the mouse, because that's what you're really driving for, is the end of the line in this this tank line is the mouse. And so I'd go with vent, rammer, and I'd probably get spall liner because the mouse's biggest threat is artillery, and you want to reduce the damage you take from artillery as much as possible. So that's pretty much what I would do. Other people might go wet ammo rack because the mouse does have kind of an easy. It's pretty easy to pen take out the ammo rack in the mouse. At least that's what I've heard anyway. I don't have that tank, but I'd still probably go spall liner. It's better all around protection, mainly from artillery. So that's equipment. Consumables and ammo. You're mainly going to be firing AP. You might have to shoot some HE because you're in a snipe position. You don't get to pick your shots as much. You can't flank whenever you want, and so you might want to hit somebody's gun with an HE shot. Or if you go up against higher tier tanks and you cannot penetrate them with 200 penetration, the HE always helps for shooting at the gun or something like that. Full rack of consumables here. fire extinguisher, repair kit, and heal kit. Pretty standard for tier 7 and above for me. It does pay off to use these consumables. I still make money even on premium if I use 2 out of the 3. If I use all 3, it could come out as a wash. Really what you want to do is stay in the game longer and get more of that 240 damage on shots on guys. Help you get more credits and XP, so use those consumables to stay in the game. Especially if you have a fire, because as you get higher in the hit points, a fire is percentage-based damage, and so you'll lose a lot more hit points more quickly with a fire and damage all your modules than you will with the smaller tank. So that's consumables and ammo. Crew, you're going to have a much better crew than this. When I bought this crew, I got a 50% crew when I first got it again. And your crew is going to be probably 90. It's going to be 90% when you transition from the 3601, because you got a 100% crew on the 3601, and you're going to, and I would spend the credits to upgrade your crew to drop them only to 90% when you start out with the Tiger, and that's going to cost you an extra 100,000 credits. And that's because having that crew up to 100% as quickly as possible, especially as a snipe tank, is going to help you immensely. With aim times and accuracy, you really need a 100% crew to make this tank shine. You would also get repair, because on the mouse you're going to need repair more than you will need. You might think, oh, I'll get camo, but remember, the camo rating on this tank's horrible, so camo is not going to help you much. I would just get repair. The second thing I would get is fire extinguisher, and third I would get camo. Now that's going to change with patch 7.2 coming out, because the crew skills are going to change a lot, and I will do a video specifically on crew skills at that point and talk about all the different kinds of tanks and what crew skills I would get with different kinds of tanks, different types of tanks. So anyway, that's this tank. Let's get into a game. So here I've spawned on hills, or I'm sorry, mines. It's called hills, I think. Mines. The replay calls it hills. I don't know. Now I actually had better games than this, but I wanted to show you. This is not. This is pretty typical for tier 7s, just getting thrown in with these tier 10s and stuff. And I'm going to show you how you can play this tank if you get as a sniper, as a lot of people are probably going to play it with these tier 9s and 10s and stuff. As you can see, I'm finding a great snipe spot behind rocks on one part and bushes and stuff to try to cover myself up. Also, I have a few places I can shoot at here. I've got top of the hill. Probably can't shoot anybody over here, but I can shoot at all the guys trying to flank us over here and move up all around and shoot a few of these guys. This is a pretty good spot for sniping. Now, also, well, I don't want to blow it, but I have a pretty good game here, and this is exactly how you're going to play this tank if you're doing sniping. It's a little easier to know how to play this tank when you're top tier, so really the problem is going to be sniping this tank and not getting hit. So here's a good, I think I get a good shot. There we go. 214 damage on a tier 10. Great XP right there. That's going to help a lot. We got low, IS, and Tiger too. Lows are really great targets for this gun because they have such soft armor, and they're just big XP and credit bags, really, if they aren't played right. IS, again, a great target for this gun. Tiger 2, a little harder to hit. Not from the side, though. Bam, see? 200 penetration, you can get almost anybody on the side, even IS-4s. IS-4s can be dicey, but you can still pen them. So I'm covering this, they're trying to push over there, they're trying to get around us, and I'm basically holding them off, helping hold that off. So we got these some lows trying to push up the hill, which is kind of odd since they're slow tanks, but whatever. Let's see what I can do here. Nope. IS. Can't get him. Can I get a shot? Yeah, I think I... Nope. Nope. And don't shoot unless you have to. If you're trying to hide a little bit, it'll reveal you. So only shoot if you have a good shot. Now, I might take a couple wild shots here, but in general, I try to not shoot unless I think I'm going to have a good chance of hitting. Like in a brawler tank, it doesn't... Ooh, okay, I'm getting spotted there because I was a little too aggressive. In a larger tank, it doesn't matter as much because you're already spotted, but I'm sniping here and I'm trying to hide. Remember, in this tank, if you get spotted and they can get a beat on you, you're dead. Now, I am exposing my sidearm a little bit, but generally, if I can pop out and get a shot, doing that, I'll do it real quickly instead of turning my whole tank every time. I should be shooting at the cupola, I think. There we go. Cupola shot right there. I get a lot of those lately. So again, I just back up to see if I have a shot or not. If I have a shot, and I'm going to stay out there a while, I generally will turn my tank. Nice. Good, good. So, helping those guys hold those guys back at this point. Another one. See, you just having your turret sticking out, don't just sit there all day, because you will get shot in the cupola a lot of times. So my cover's getting shot at a little bit here. That's okay. Now I start turning my tank, because I am going to stay out here a little while. Make this IS pay. ISs cannot just walk out like this. They can't just sit out in the open and try to push. They have soft armor. Nice. Took out a tier 8 right there. And that's why I generally think an IS is kind of almost a harder tank to play than the Tiger. It's got okay front armor, 120 millimeters, and it's sloped quite a bit, but man, it's still real soft. It's very quick though. It's better at flanking really than trying to be a brawler. So we're shutting them down, 8-3 here. This is kind of a no-brainer now. We got in some good positions. Everybody on this team had some great positioning, and the Ferd got hit a little bit, but it looks like with our positioning, we held off their push and jacked them up pretty good. Wow, that was a really bad shot by my crew. That's because I have a crappy crew. If my crew was 100%, I would have hit him. My crew was 80% in this game. Another thing, I probably would have killed him if my crew was 100% with that shot. But they hit a little bit high. I think they hit his turret. So, see, now, pretty much everybody I could have shot at is dead, and now I'm going to move up. Because I got to keep unloading my gun. At this point, not only to help the team, but to get as much credits and XP as I can, because we're, you know, this is an obvious win for us. I mean, it would be really... If they came back from this, we are bad players. So, the Batshat, I see it on the radar. I see it's trying to flank, and I'm going to go for it. See him trying to flank over there at D8? And I pointed out, hey, this guy's trying to get a flank move on us. Now, this could have been really bad if he got through, because he could kill our arty, and it looks like we have a scout in our base just sitting there, or is that a 75 in our base? And he would have killed the E75. He's one hit away from death. So this could have changed the game quite a lot, actually. So I come up to a snipe position. I know he's going to come around the city. There he is, 5%, 66 hit points. You just got tigered in your face. And the guys from SSGS, so I feel, the first clan, so I feel pretty good about that kill. Tiger uppercut. E100, I don't want to mess with this guy. So this guy was a really good sport about it, though. Yeah, he was going to do a drive-by on the E75, and I blocked him, so... I like when guys are good sports about dying and stuff. Now, so with that, yeah, that's the game right there. So 1,200 point game, which is pretty good for a Tiger. You usually get about 700 or 800 XP in this thing when it's fully unlocked. With a better crew, I'd probably more ensure that. Wow, I didn't know they had so many SSGS in this game.